What's up, everybody? I'm going to do a story time today while I do my hair. And today's hairstyle, we're going to be using these handy things. I haven't used these in a minute. I don't even know if people still use them, but I really want my hair curled. I want like a nice curly blowout kind of a look. So I figured that's what we're gonna do when I tell this story time. So today's story time is going to be, it's going to be about a catfish date, or the time I got catfished. Today's story is going to be about the time I got catfished. I think it's the only time I've ever been catfished. Like, I've been hatfished. I've been, I think I've only ever been hatfished outside of this time where, this man full-blown catfished me. Wild. Stay tuned. So first and foremost, I met this guy off of a dating site. This was at the time where we were still using like OkCupid or POF. I think people still use it, but probably not the way that people were using it at the time that I met this guy. But so he was cute, but he was like not 100% my type, but I would say like he's like 70% my type. He was a good looking guy, tall at the time, because I was more on the thinner side. I was like, how much did I weigh? I was like 130 at the time, so like he was pretty skinny, but I didn't mind because at that time I was really skinny too. And I hadn't really like developed like what my taste in men is yet. I was still trying to figure it out. So I was like dating all different types of men: Asian, Black, Hispanic, white. He was white. I don't think it matters, but just just for the visuals, he was white. So yeah, and he had like this kind of mullet, but it wasn't it was like very stylish. Like, I feel like nowadays people get mullets and they know how to style it. So it was very stylish. So it wasn't like off. But at the time, I don't think I like even knew I was into that kind of thing. So it was like, I knew he was cute, but I don't think I had like a definitive, oh, this is why he's cute, because he has style. Because I didn't think I had thought that way then, because I didn't develop my style yet. So we were like talking. We started talking a lot on the site before we actually like exchanged numbers, but I could tell he was already interested in meeting in person. And at that time I was I was exploring. I was figuring out me, because I had just got out of like a really tough relationship with my high school sweetheart, who at the time I think was the only person, he was the only person I ever dated. So I had just broken off with my high school sweetheart. You guys gotta have to excuse me. This is like the first time I've actually done like a full-blown storytime video. I had a YouTube channel that I created like in 2017, but I ended up deleting it. And I was just mostly like doing hair and stuff videos. So I wasn't really like talking a lot in my videos. So excuse me if I say a lot of ums, because I'm pretty dope with communication, but given that I feel a little shy right now, I'm probably gonna say a lot or like a lot. So we'll get better at this. But anyways, so I knew for sure he wanted to meet in person quite quickly. But at the time I was exploring and all that, so I didn't mind it at all. I was down for it, and we ended up exchanging numbers, and I did at least have the sense to not tell him where I lived. So we can meet on like a corner. I had no choice though. I was living with my parents at the time. And they probably would have like killed me if I would have had a man pick me up. So that wasn't happening. So I gave him like the address to down the street or whatever. So I remember thinking that he was like that he would be awfully quiet in person, most likely. I'm very like, I'm observant, but at that time, I wasn't talkative either. So I know that if I was with someone who wasn't talkative and I wasn't talkative, that it would be awkward, or it could create that awkwardness. So I'm over here trying to like give myself a little pep talk on how I'm gonna like talk to him. And I grew up, I guess, feeling different from people, so I didn't know if I was gonna come off like weird, or I'm like, I am still into it, but I was like more heavily into like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, very much still into it. But at the time, I thought it made me weird. So I was like giving myself this whole pep talk on how I was about to go about this date and make the situation a bit more comfortable, because that's what I thought I had to do when I was with someone who wasn't talkative and I wasn't talkative. I thought I had to be the one to put myself out there and be more talkative. Didn't realize it was just the fact that I am talkative and I like talking. I just didn't know how to like do that. I didn't know how to comfortably do that back then. So I'm pep talking and all that. And we finally pick a date, and I was like excited. I'm thinking, I'm getting back out there. I'm getting back out there. I'm getting back comfortable with myself and my skin. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take on, this dating scene. He's gonna regret, my ex is gonna regret letting me go. And I just had this all on the weight, all putting all this weight on some guy who doesn't even know me yet. But it wasn't even just about the person himself. I think it was more about finding myself. It was more about feeling comfortable enough to get back out there and date again and not feel like my whole world is crushed because it didn't work out with this high school sweetheart of mine. So, yeah, picked the date. I was excited. Had my whole little outfit. What did I wear? I want to say I wore like this striped green and white top, and like some tan shirts. If I have a picture, I'm gonna put it up there. I think I look cute. I don't know if I look date worthy. Like, I don't think I like looked. I looked cute. I probably looked more like a picnic at the park though, or picnic like a pier, something summery. But I'm pretty sure we had plans to go like to a restaurant. But I was self-conscious a lot then, so I was overthinking it. But looking back, I looked good. So anyways, I'm texting him like, hey, what's car? Well, it comes to the day, and he's like, he did one of those things that I wish more men would do, where it's about to be time for the day. So it's like, oh yeah, we still on for. So I'm like, oh yeah, he's doing all of that. He got it. Already telling me he was gonna pay for the day. Don't worry about it. So I'm just like, yeah, this is. Where's the other piece? This is just gonna be a great date. Because I'll be honest, I wasn't really used to guys being sweet like that. Well, I wouldn't even say, because I wasn't really experiencing the dating scene that much. I was like 19, but I had my high school sweetheart pretty much all through high school. And then, because that's a whole nother story, but it lasted up until like college. So at that time, like, I didn't know what it meant to date. I wasn't even around experienced people. Most people in my life date that one dude and, end up marrying him and having kids by him. And that didn't turn out the same for me. But, so I didn't know how to go about it. I was nervous as heck. And I didn't really date I dated my ex my first love. I dated him, but like we didn't like go out on dates because we met in high school. So it was like you're pretty much just seeing that person in class and through the hallways and school stuff. And my parents were really strict, so anything outside of school stuff was not happening. It wasn't happening. I wasn't going nowhere. So anyways, okay, where am I putting this? So anyways, I did all that, and I don't even know how I'm going about this. We'll split it. So yeah, so I everything's going, and then it comes to the day. I ask him, you know, hey, what car? Oh, should I give him a name? After this, I'm not gonna give him a name. I don't think he needs one. I'm gonna call him. We're gonna call him Mr. Incredible. We're gonna call him Mr. Incredible. So, anyways, Mr. Incredible tells me what car to look for and how to find him. And I'm walking closer and closer, so I text him and I go, you know, hey, I see your car, I'm coming. And then he goes, oh, you know, like, it's the typical, because I'm kind of far, like, oh, you know, where are you? And I'm like, there's no way this is the guy. So I'm like, well, you said what car? So I'm like, you said what car? And so he repeats the car, and I see a guy by the car, but there's just no way that's him, because he looks nothing like him. Well, I wouldn't say he looks nothing, but far away, he looks nothing like him. So I stop, and I'm like, come again? Like, what car? Are you sure? And oh, my thing's right here. So I'm like, are you sure? And of course he's like, I know my car. Hold on, let me flip this, because I'll say that just confused me. Okay, so yeah, he's like, you know, yeah. So this guy is a tall, skinny white dude with dark brown hair and a mullet. What I got was the guy, the dad, you know, The Incredibles. So that's where I'm getting the name from. It's the dad. He looks like the dad. A bigger set guy. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he was heavy set. So my ex prior to him, he wasn't heavy set, but he was like, I gave him the nickname Big Diesel, because he was kind of like a football player. Like, he looked like he can demolish some stuff. So that's what I would call him. But he wasn't that. It wasn't like muscular heavy set. It wasn't even like Mr. Incredibles, because Mr. Incredibles was technically like strong heavy set, but he was just more like Mr. Incredibles if Mr. Incredibles was drinking a lot of beer. Yeah. But same thing, really, really tall. Upper body was kind of like pretty heavy, but like he drinks. Skinny legs though, so it's not like he's just this big guy. Which it wouldn't matter if he was, but that's not the picture. That's not who you said you were. You said you were thin, like the pictures. And then he had blonde hair. And that's not what I was into at the time. I was into white dudes, but I wasn't really into the blonde hair, blue-eyed white dudes. So it's like, okay, so did you dye your hair blonde? Or are you naturally blonde and you dyed your hair brown? Because then where's that brown hair? Is that brown hair coming back? Is brown hair in the room with us? So this guy, so he's like, and it sucks because back then I was such a people pleaser. I don't even know if I was a people pleaser. I wouldn't even say I was a people pleaser. I just knew I did not like making people uncomfortable. So I guess that's kind of a people pleaser. Like, I wouldn't do things to please people. But I guess if I'm doing things to not make people uncomfortable, then I'm doing things to please people. But I didn't look at it like that back then. I think I just realized that just now. So anyways, so I get up close to him, and that's when I realized it is him. And that's what I felt bad about, because it's not like I'm saying, hey, you're not who you said you were, because he is. But how do I say, you're not in the time zone that you said you were? We're not in the time that you're presenting yourself to have been in. So, yeah, like a silly person, like a dum-dum back then, I get in the car and I rationalized it. How the heck did that happen? Because I rationalized it by thinking he couldn't have been catfishing me because he is who he said he was. He just doesn't look like that. And I thought that it would make me shallow if I'm like, that ain't my type. It doesn't. It does not make you shallow. So if somebody's lying about what they look like, you can dip. And if you're like me and you're like worried about feeling bad about that, just remember that they didn't feel bad about lying to you. And you and several other women, because it isn't like you're the one and only person that they doing this to. They're probably doing it to several people. They're just waiting for that one person to be like, hey, yeah, I want to meet you. And basically guilt you into talking to them anyways. If you decide, no, you're not who you said you were, then they'll be like, but shallow this and shallow that. But mind you, how the heck do people do this? How does this keep coming off? But mind you, if you were the one catfishing that person, they'll let you know. They'll let you know they feel some type of way. So don't be afraid to walk away. I wish somebody would have told me that then. But anyways, yeah. So I get in the car. And it was so quiet. It's crazy to think that I did all that prepping just for it to be awkward. Anyways, and it had nothing to do with me. So it's quiet, and I'm just like, so, your pictures. How long ago did you take those pictures? And he's like, oh no, it's not that long ago. Huh? I was 20? I was 20 years old. And in them pictures, he looked like he was like 19, 20. In real life, he looked like he's the age I am right now. I give it, he looked about 35, 40. Like, nah, bro, this ain't you. What is going on with this? You know what? Hold on, y'all. Let me try to figure this out real quick. All right, so we have one. I figured it out. Smaller pieces. I think my piece was too big. Yeah, so anyways, I asked him, and he's like, it wasn't that long ago. I'm just like, oh yeah, you look, you definitely look a bit different. And he's like, playing stupid. Like, do I? I don't know. You know you don't look the same. Bruh, you know. But the conversation was flowing just as well as it already was, which I think begs for that theory of like, if you
So what I was trying to say was the conversation was flowing as good as it was before we met in person. The
principle. Like, I understand why someone would still talk to someone, even if they lied, because it's still the same person. Like, it is. It's still the same person you're talking to. But for me, it's the principle, because that's a huge lie. It's a huge lie to lie about, who you are, or the time you're in, or what you look like, or what you're into, those kind of things. It's too much, because I don't know, do you really work where you say you work? Is that your real name? You know what I mean? Like, are you actually from here? You a murderer? Anyways, so we ended up going out, but it wasn't like a restaurant. I believe it was like one of those kind of foodie trucks kind of situations, and walked around at the park. And then it came the ultimate question, which, once again, it wouldn't be annoying if that was the plan. If the plan was to go to a food truck, walk around the park, enjoy each other's company, conversation. It's not like I'm not into that. I'm definitely into that. But don't make it seem like you have this grand ideal of this restaurant that you get reservations at and all that kind of thing. If you don't. Or if that's all the date was going to be, sure, but then don't try to woo it into something else. Not to say that your body should be bought. Like, oh, if you spend more money, then yeah, we can go back to my place. I'm not saying that. It's just if that's always a man's thing. Oh, I spent money on you, so you need to give me something. That's how we used to get a lot of us back in the day. You feel bad, like you owe this person something. But at the same time, don't say it like that, like we're all supposed to be agreeing to that kind of a thing. But then you're not even doing your end. You're not even like spending that much money on the date. Don't give it up regardless. Because that's weird. It's not going to change anything. If a guy's a good guy, he's going to be a good guy regardless. If a guy's a bad guy, he's going to be a bad guy regardless. So don't think that you need to exchange anything. But I'm just saying, for argument's sake, you know, you didn't even do a lot of spending of anything. And I don't even think he paid for me. But it wouldn't matter if he did. It was like $5. So anyways, he's like, hey, you want to come back to my place? So I said all that to say that's where it was going. I believe we were having a conversation about guns because I wanted to collect, and he was telling me he already had a collection. Now, call me naive, because most likely it's because of my love for like collecting guns. At the time, I really wanted those, like those cute little revolvers, or just like those cute little handguns that you can just like put in your purse, and it's always in some type of spy movie or something like that. I loved those. He was telling me, he had a collection, and I'm like, oh yeah. And this wasn't me trying to be, I'm a guy's girl kind of. I really liked them. So when he told me he had them, he didn't really have to convince me, and it wasn't me trying to be like, I'm not like other girls. I really was in love. So, not with him, but you know what I'm talking about. So, I'm like, yeah, I know, because he lived close, is what he said. So, I was like, yeah, no, that sounds like a great idea. So, we go there. Like I said, there was no funny business. He wasn't trying to be weird or anything. So, I was cool with it. And that's when he showed me them, right? And he shows me his collection, and it was a big collection. It was so dope. So I was so excited about it, and he's letting me touch them, and of course, I had to wipe them fingerprints, but so it was dope. Here we go again. But mind you, in the midst of me looking at one of them, this pearl-handled one, it was like a mini Ruger, and it had like a stone handle. It was like a white pearly stone handle. I was like, yes. But literally, while I'm holding this, and this didn't all happen this fast, but in the midst of me holding this gun, I think to myself, is this loaded? So I asked him, and he's like, oh yeah, I usually keep my guns loaded because they have safeties. And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. That should have been went off. Went off with the catfishing, went off with the looking older, went off with the we're not actually going to the place you said we're going to. I was like, you know what? I gotta go. Like, you know what? It's been fun. This was a good night. But I should be heading out. And I don't think it caught on to him that I had just realized that I had put myself in a very stupid situation. I didn't get the vibe that he caught on, but it was still like, he's like, oh no, we should watch a movie. And I was like, yeah, no, it's okay. I gotta go. Hey, you want me to drive you home? No. No, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. So after convincing him that I really did have a good time, but I'm ready to go. And it's not to say that I didn't, but I just couldn't stop thinking about the fact that he wasn't who he said he was. Like, I just couldn't get past it. So with all the good conversations and the joking and like, it was cool. But I think it sucks because I feel like I was already talking to someone that I wouldn't, it's not that I wouldn't normally go for, because like race-wise, I was already into white dudes. I'm a pretty tall girl, so I typically go for tall men. The mullet was different, but it wasn't too off, considering at the time I had just got out of being like gothic girl, or seeing like of finding myself and realizing that even though I liked rock music, or I liked some heavy metals, that that didn't fit me. The aesthetic, the look didn't fit me. Maybe for obvious reasons, but maybe not. But at the time, I think it was more obvious reasons, because I wasn't seeing a lot of people that looked like me doing those things, or I wasn't seeing a lot of people that looked like me in those things, in those rooms. So I was into the different styles because I knew mine's at the time was quite different. Or before that, because I was, trying a new look. But I knew I was into different things. Didn't bother me. So none of that bothered me. Even if it was that he was a bit older than me, that wouldn't have bothered me, because I had dated older people older than him. Because he wasn't actually that much older than me. Like, he wasn't the age that I am now. He just looked the age that I am now. Like stress. He was stressed. But a lot of my story times are gonna be things that I've done without really thinking about it. Like, really, hey, what's the end of this situation gonna look like? And in that case, it didn't hit me until I could have been in a really bad situation. Ow. But I would say that's the only time I've ever been catfished. I've been catfished in different ways, like I said, but that's the only time I really felt like, well, I guess really catfished is if the person is not at all who they said they were. That's catfish. But I was, 85% catfish? Because, like I said, that him was him back in like early 2000s. Because him I saw was like 2010s. Like, it's been a minute since you look like that. But anyways, I did end up getting out there scot-free. So I did end up talking my way out of there. And when I left, I swear it felt like a ton of weight was off my shoulders. Because it's not like he didn't say anything weird. He didn't do anything other than catfishing. He didn't physically do anything weird to me. It was just like, if I would have stayed there long, I think something weird would have happened. And maybe not like down that very dark road weird, but he probably would have for sure expected something from me. And I think what he would have expected was for me to, one of the things he would have expected was for me to overlook the lie. And I wasn't going to be willing to do that, because I don't like liars. I don't like liars. Oh, look at that laugh. So yeah, anyways, if you guys like this story time, please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like this video. But I hope you guys like that story time. I do have many more story times. Also, I would like to put at the end of this video the finished product, because I'm only, at like 4? This is going to take a minute. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. So I know it's the end of my story time video, but I had to come back and show you guys how the hairstyle came out. Well, I'm going to put 2 cute buns in the front, but look at those curls. Those curls is curling. So if any of y'all have stopped using these, start using them again. Start using them again.